This is my fourth video on the tarot about the suit of Pentacles. So as always, we'll just do a brief review. The tarot consists of 76 cards, 78 cards. 56 of them fall into four suits of 14 cards each, ace through 10 plus 4 court cards. And the suits are swords, cups, wands, and pentacles. So I'll be talking about the pentacles, the fourth of these suits. These four suits together are called the minor arcana. In addition to all the cards that are in the suit, there are 22 cards that don't belong to any suit. They're just a series of archetypal images. Those are called the major arcana. I will talk about those in a fifth video. So first of all, pentacles. With the pentacles, the psychological function is sensation, seeing, tasting, actually sensing things with sensory organs. The element is earth, very grounding suit. The chakra is the root chakra. And keywords include grounding, beauty, art, aesthetics, sensitivity, productivity, fruitfulness, moral and spiritual values, abundance, mindfulness, and the golden ratio. So, of course, it's a lot about seeing. So, of course, it's about beauty, art, and aesthetics. It's a lot about sensing. So this has to do with sensitivity. There's a lot of productivity. We see a lot of fruitfulness in these cards. Mindfulness, of course, is an aspect of sensation. The practice of mindfulness is being intentionally in one's senses. And the golden ratio, this requires a little bit of a comment. So, of course, the golden ratio is a geometric ratio. It appears in the regular pentagon, and it also appears in the star that we get from the regular pentagon. Of course, this star is featured on each pentacle. The star appears on every card in this suit. And this also, incidentally, is the same star shape that is on the American flag. So, first of all, I say golden ratio because it appears as part of the star. But also, in sacred geometry, the golden ratio, it's hard to say what it represents. It represents something like the fact that the deep spiritual mysteries are actually written on the surface of life. That if we really knew how to read the surface of life, we would understand the deepest teachings. And this is closely related to what is known in Tibetan Buddhism, the concept of the open secret, the idea that the Buddha Dharma is an open secret. If we just looked out at the world, we see everyone acting, and then there are consequences for their actions. We see the Buddha Dharma just playing out. But of course, no one looks at the world that way. And so that teaching, all those teachings are a secret, even though they're out in the open, the idea of an open secret. So let's look at these cards. The ace of any suit is the most powerful expression of that suit, kind of the first raw expression of that suit. You might call this card the opening of the eye of beauty, the opening of the aesthetic sense, And notice that beneath there's this beautiful garden with flowers, and this gate suggesting this journey that happens when we open the aesthetic sense and start to journey through the world sensitive to the beauty. It can also be the opening of a particular kind of sensitivity, a particular depth of feeling that we hadn't had before, a particular way of being impacted by the world that we hadn't appreciated before. Any of these ways that something is new, a new way of being in the world. For the Two of Pentacles, the key word I would use here is creative tension. And I would contrast the Two of Pentacles to the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is very much about an either-or logic, whereas the Two of Pentacles is about a both-and logic. This person is holding two priorities, not choosing one or the other, but holding them in creative tension. and really understanding what it means to bring these two into creative balance with each other. So there's something very dynamic about this card in a wonderful, life-affirming way. The Three of Pentacles, I would call this the card of the young craftsman. This is someone who has started, say, their spiritual journey or started their work in their career. They've only taken the first step so far, but those first steps are being met with approval. It's kind of a confirmation of keep doing what you're doing. The work is good, this sort of thing. Fours often represent stability. And when we combine the stability of four with the grounding influence of the card, it's a bit too much. The key word for this card is constipation. Someone who is so stable, so concerned about stability that they're kind of stuck. And that there's a kind of stuckness, there's something they need to say, there's some dynamism that they're lacking that they need to express. So this person is a bit too stuck, a bit too protected in their own experience of how they sense the world or their own experience of beauty, and they need to open up a little bit more, risk a little bit more. Five is often about crossing out of balance. And here, the out of balance situation is we have these poor people who are out they're wounded, they're struggling, they're hungry, they're out in the cold. But the idea here is there's a church right behind them. And so it's kind of this unnecessary suffering. If they just realized that they could move into the church, they would find food, they would find love, they would find community and connection, they would find warmth. And so just part of the message of this card is don't suffer unnecessarily. Be aware of where you can find relief. It's also an image of the rejected parts of ourselves. Within any one of us, there are parts of ourselves that we celebrate, and then there are rejected children wandering out in the cold that are part of us. Can we greet those parts with love and connection? Can we invite those places to the feast of love in our hearts? So all of this is part of the challenge of this card. The six of any suit is about connection. Here it's as if the poor people have found the rich benefactor. It's really representing the rich benefactor giving from a place of fullness. So there's something incredibly noble about this person. This person is able to give to others, able to satisfy their needs, able to give them what they need, and giving from a place of abundance. So not needing anything in return, just giving because it feels good to give. 7 is often about spirituality. And here it's really the sense of someone who has done their spiritual work and it's bearing fruits. It can also just be, someone who's cultivated good habits for years and for years has lived with good habits, or it can be someone who has a spiritual practice and has been following that spiritual practice for years. And so there's kind of a humility combined with a quiet celebration, just this quiet, joyful sense of just seeing the fruit of one's work and just appreciating, of course, the work will continue, but enjoying the fruit of one's work. The Eight of Pentacles is about the master craftsman. So this is someone who is really, they've been working at their craft for a while. They are a master, and they're continuing to do their craft. They are at the height of their career, excelling at their craft. And part of the mystery of this is part of how the sacred plays out in the world. Talented people fulfilling their talents, giving their talents full play and being productive in the world. This is one of the many ways that the sacred plays out on the surface of life. This is a beautiful card, a golden sky. In some ways, this card is similar to the Queen of Wands. This is also a female presence who is very wise, who is very, very confident in herself, very self-satisfied, full of self-love. able to give abundantly to others. She has the falcon, which connotes broad vision. Of course, the falcon is able to go up and see a wide horizon. So this is someone who has this spiritual knowledge. This person may be an energy healer, someone who just has this deep, far-reaching knowledge of others. This would be a wonderful person to get advice from, a wonderful person to help you out when you're in a rough situation. Just an incredibly beautiful, wise card. And the Ten of Pentacles is one of the happiest and most auspicious cards in the entire deck. So the Ten of Pentacles, first of all, in the background, what we have, I would describe it as intergenerational love. We have the old man, the grandfather, the young couple, the little child, everyone just in love and connection. The dogs, dogs love everyone. So all that is happening. It looks like a very rich, abundant place where they live. They're all living together in safety and joy. And then in the front, what we have, the 10 pentacles are arranged in the pattern of the tree of life from the Kabbalah. This is the pattern of the 10 Sephirot on the tree of life. And so the connotation here is that there's this deep wisdom that, for example, this grandfather figure has been walking a path of spiritual wisdom. And then the way that this wisdom plays out on the surface of life is just this rich family dynamic, this intergenerational love and connection that these people are enjoying. So a very beautiful card about spiritual wisdom bearing fruits in the world. All four of the court cards have golden skies, so they're very auspicious. The Page of Pentacles, a page often represents a young child or a young part of ourselves. This, again, might be someone who is first exploring aesthetics, first exploring their own artistic impulses, or first exploring what it means to experience art. So it's all kind of new. There's a kind of magic to it. And they've set out on this way of exploring themselves and exploring the world. A knight is always someone a little more mature. This is someone who has spent a good deal of time exploring aesthetics. They're sensitive to beauty. They feel life deeply. This might be a little more of an introvert. It might be a little harder to get to know this person, but it'd be well worthwhile getting to know this person. There is someone who listens deeply and feels life deeply. The Queen of Pentacles, this can represent an external woman or an aspect of the feminine within us. This is an aspect of the feminine that feels things incredibly deeply. She's deeply aware of her own feelings. She feels herself deeply. She feels others deeply. She has a deep sensation of the world, is deeply sensitive to beauty. And there's something life-affirming about her. Notice the fruitfulness all around her. There's something about this that just nourishes life and nourishes vitality in others. A very beautiful card. And finally, the King of Pentacles. Very rich. He has his vine-covered robe. So this is a man who has spent his life defending beauty, defending life-enhancing wisdom. And so just very thoughtful, a very good guy. We see the bulls, there's something very grounded about him, very stable, certainly very strong, but also deeply sensitive. So there's, again, a really auspicious, wonderful card. And so that concludes the suit of Pentacles.